Today, we're going to look at the basics of sampling. Sampling is the process through which a researcher selects a group of representative participants from their target population. This basically means you're looking for people who are willing to take part in your experiment or your research. Representativeness is the extent to which the participants chosen for the research reflect the target population. So if I'm conducting a research on footballers and I choose participants who play basketball, they do not represent my target population at all. Understanding a researcher's sample and the sampling method used is important to evaluate the research's validity and reliability. You must be wondering what this target population is. A target population is the total group of individuals from which the sample might be drawn. So if I was investigating the cause of procrastination in students at AIC, my target population would be all 255 students enrolled at AIC. The problem nonetheless is that I couldn't possibly conduct research on all 255 students, and hence it's important for us to find a sample that would represent these 255 students. The next step then would be to figure out a sampling frame. The sample frame is a list of all the items in your population. This basically means it is a list of all the students enrolled at AIC, which I can use to sample my participants. Since my research is on procrastination, I may choose to conduct my research only on students with high scores on a procrastination scale I administered school-wide. From that, let's say 10 students scored really high, so I send them an invitation to take part in my research. These 10 students' names then make up my sample frame, and not all 255 students enrolled at AIC. The sample frame, like I said before, is not the sample. Over here, of the 10 students that received the invitation, only 6 have chosen to participate in the research. These 6 students are who make up my research sample. The 4 who received the invitation but did not choose to take part are not a part of my sample. Now that we know what sampling is and the difference between a target population, sample frame, and sample, the next piece to understand about sampling is that there are different methods of sampling. These methods can be divided into 2 categories: probability sampling and non-probability sampling. Probability sampling is based on the fact that every member of the target population has a known and equal chance of being selected. So if I was recruiting 50 participants for my research on procrastination at school, everyone would have a 1 out of 255 chance of getting selected for the research. If these 6 students were part of my target population, they would each have a 1 out of 6 chance of getting selected for my research. On the other hand, non-probability sampling is where the odds of any member being selected for a sample cannot be calculated. So if I was to conduct my research during evening study and went into the library to find my participants, not all 255 of you would have a 1 out of 255 chance. The chances would be purely based on who is studying at the library at that time. Let's say the purpose of my research was to study social skills in individuals with IQ scores above 140. I would select only those who have an IQ score above 140. And if it's only these 3 people who meet that expectation, the others in the target population do not have an equal chance at being selected. Probability sampling and non-probability sampling are the categories of sampling. Under each of these categories, there are several different methods that fall under it. Under probability sampling, there is simple random sampling, cluster sampling, systematic sampling, and stratified random sampling. And under non-probability sampling, there's convenience sampling, purposive sampling, quota sampling, and snowball sampling. You will be exploring each of these different samplings in pairs to get to know a little more about them, when they're used, their advantages and disadvantages. I hope you found this video helpful and now are able to understand what sampling is as a process, what a target population is, what a sampling frame is, and what a sample is. I hope you're also able to differentiate between probability sampling and non-probability sampling.